Look at me right now and hear this. You were not broken for nothing. I know you've been through betrayal, pain, and injustice. I know what it feels like to be used, abandoned, and left wondering why me, but let me tell you something. God saw it all, the lies, the manipulation, the backstabbing. Nothing went unnoticed. And here's the truth. No one gets away with hurting a chosen one. They may think they walked away free, but the bill always comes due. Justice is not coming, it's already here. The tables are turning, and everything that was stolen from you is about to be restored. It's time to stand up, step into your power, and get ready for the victory that's already yours. Pain has a voice. It speaks in the silence of the night when no one is watching. It echoes through the empty spaces where trust was broken and love was betrayed. Every tear shed in secret, every moment of suffering endured in isolation, none of it disappears into thin air. The universe takes note, and God records every ounce of your struggle. There were times when you cried out, wondering if anyone could hear you. You questioned if your pain even mattered, if your suffering was just another forgotten story in the vastness of existence. But let me tell you, pain is not just an emotion, it is a testimony, a witness to the injustice that has been done to you. It does not dissolve or vanish. It lingers, waiting for its day of reckoning. When you were betrayed, when they turned their backs on you, when they mocked you and thought you were defeated, every single moment was seen. Every broken promise, every shattered dream, every deep wound that was inflicted upon you has been recorded. The world may have dismissed your suffering, and those who hurt you may have walked away without a second thought, but that does not mean your pain was ignored. Pain carries weight. It demands resolution. It may not be visible to the naked eye, but it is imprinted in the fabric of time, waiting for justice to unfold. The universe operates on principles that cannot be denied. What is sown must be reaped, and your pain is not an exception. It is a seed that has been planted, and every act of cruelty against you has set into motion a divine response. There is an unseen ledger, a balance that must be settled. Those who caused your suffering may believe they have escaped, but they have not. The weight of your pain is not forgotten, nor is it without consequence. It carries forward, shifting the scales, demanding an answer. The energy of your suffering moves, accumulating, aligning itself with justice that cannot be evaded. Pain does not fade into oblivion. It carves itself into the story of your life, not as a mark of defeat, but as a force that compels a reckoning. Every injustice done to you has created an unbreakable bond between your suffering and the justice that must follow. Nothing is ever truly lost. The echoes of your pain travel further than you realize, ensuring that the wrongs done against you will not go unanswered. There are moments in life when it feels like justice is nowhere to be found. You look around and see the wicked prosper, the liars succeed, and those who inflicted harm walking freely as if their actions carried no consequences. You wonder why God has remained silent, why the heavens have not moved on your behalf, why the scales have not yet been bowed. But what you must understand is that divine justice does not operate on human timelines. It is never late, never early. It arrives with absolute precision in the exact moment it is meant to. From where you stand, it may seem as if nothing is happening. The ones who betrayed you continue on as if their actions never matter. The ones who spoke against you still walk with their heads held high, and the ones who tried to break you appear untouched by the weight of what they did. But what you do not see is the unseen hand of justice, setting things into motion, aligning events, preparing the stage for a reckoning that no one can outrun. Justice is not absent. It is working in ways beyond your comprehension. You may want it now. You may cry out for it in your pain, demanding that the wrongs be made right in an instant. But divine justice is meticulous. It is not rushed by emotion or swayed by temporary circumstances. It does not react, it responds with the full force of righteousness at the moment when it will have the greatest impact. There is an appointed time for everything under heaven, just as the seasons change, just as the sun rises and sets without fail. Justice has its season, and that season cannot be stopped once it begins. The wicked may laugh now, the deceivers may gloat, and those who wronged you may believe they have escaped accountability, but they are merely standing in the illusion of delay. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. It is the setting up of circumstances so that when justice strikes, it will be undeniable, unshakable, and irreversible. You have seen it before, how the powerful fall, how the proud are humbled, how the ones who thought they were untouchable suddenly find themselves facing the very consequences they believed they had escaped. It does not always happen in the way you expect nor in the timing you desire, but it always happens. What is sown must be reaped. No one, no matter how high they sit, can escape the laws that govern justice. They may think they are in control, but they are merely standing on borrowed time, unaware that the ground beneath them is already shifting. Divine justice moves like a storm building in the distance. It starts quietly, gathering strength, forming in places unseen, hidden from those who think they are safe. But when the storm arrives, it does not ask permission. It does not knock gently at the door. It comes with power, with force, with the authority of heaven itself. And when it strikes, there is no hiding, no running, no undoing what has been set in motion. You may not see it happening yet, but it is already unfolding. The tables are turning, the balance is shifting, and the unseen forces that govern justice are aligning everything to bring resolution in ways greater than you imagine. Life operates on a principle that cannot be broken, a law that governs the universe with absolute certainty. What is sown must be reaped. No action is without consequence. No seed is planted without producing a harvest, and no deed, whether good or evil, goes without a return. Those who have wronged you, those who have taken advantage of your kindness, those who have inflicted pain upon you as if it were their right, they have planted their seeds, and the harvest is inevitable. For a time, it may seem as if they have escaped their due. They walk freely, they smile, they move forward as if their actions have no weight, no repercussions. But what they fail to realize is that every decision, every lie, every betrayal is a seed planted in the soil of their own future. And the soil does not forget. The universe is not blind, and the divine ledger does not lose count. The same way a farmer cannot plant thorns and expect roses, a person cannot sow destruction and expect peace, cannot spread pain and expect joy, cannot build their life on deceit and expect it to stand. The thing about seeds is that they take time to grow. The consequences are not always immediate. The results do not always appear overnight. This is what deceives people into believing they are exempt from justice. that somehow they are above the law of cause and effect. They take and take, they wound and destroy, and because they do not see an immediate response, they convince themselves that they have escaped accountability. But just because a seed has not yet broken through the soil does not mean it is not growing. It is merely waiting for its season, and when that season comes, there is no stopping it. The same people who laughed at your pain, who dismissed your suffering, who walked away without a second thought, they will come face to face with the consequences of their actions. It will not be because you wished it upon them, nor because you sought revenge, but because the universe has been set in motion to return to them exactly what they put out into the world. What they gave, they will receive. What they built for others, they will walk through themselves. Some people have sown deception, and they will be surrounded by lies they can no longer control. Some have sown betrayal, and they will find themselves abandoned when they need loyalty the most. Some have caused heartbreak, and they will experience a pain so deep that they finally understand what they once dismissed. It is not punishment, it is simply the return of what was always coming. It is the fruit of their own planting, the unavoidable outcome of their own choices. No one is exempt from this law. No position, no power, no wealth can override the simple truth that life gives back what is given to it. Some will watch their own actions come full circle, and they will wish they had done things differently. They will look back and realize that the harm they caused was not just a moment in time, but a seed that followed them, a harvest that could not be avoided. It does not matter how far they run, how much they deny, how deeply they bury their past, the harvest always comes, and when it does, it is undeniable. They may have thought they were winning, they may have convinced themselves that they were untouchable, but no one escapes their own planting. Pain is one of the greatest forces in the universe. It has the power to break you or build you, to define you or refine you. It is not just something you endure, it is something that transforms you. The suffering you have faced, the betrayals, the disappointments, the moments where you felt like you were drowning under the weight of it all, none of it was meaningless. Every tear, every sleepless night, every time you wanted to give up but didn't, was shaping something deep inside you. Pain is a fire. It burns, it consumes, it forces you to confront the rawest, most vulnerable parts of yourself. But fire is also the tool that refines gold, that strengthens steel, that forges warriors. You are not who you used to be. You are not as fragile, not as naive, not as easily broken as you once were. Every struggle, every hardship has been a training ground, preparing you for something greater. The pain that was meant to destroy you has instead become the very thing that is making you unstoppable. People who have never suffered, who have never been betrayed, who have never felt the deep sting of loss, they do not understand resilience. They do not understand what it means to stand up when everything inside you is screaming to stay down. They do not understand the strength it takes to wake up, to move forward, to keep believing in yourself when the world has given you every reason to quit. But you understand because you have lived through it. Pain has given you wisdom. It has shown you who is truly in your corner and who only pretended to be. It has exposed the masks people wear, revealed the truth about those you once trusted. It has given you the ability to see through deception, to sense dishonesty, to recognize patterns that others might miss. What once hurt you has now become your greatest advantage because it taught you lessons that no book, no speech, no mentor could ever teach. Pain has also given you depth. While others may only skim the surface of life, you have been forced to go deeper. You have felt things intensely. You have wrestled with your emotions. You have faced the kind of inner battles that most people will never even acknowledge. This depth allows you to connect with people in ways that shallow experiences never could. You have the ability to inspire, to uplift, to guide others through their darkness, because you have already walked through your own. Pain is fuel. It has lit a fire inside you that will not go out. The very things that were meant to weaken you have given you a drive that cannot be stopped. Every setback has made you hungrier. Every heartbreak has made you more determined. You have been tested in the worst ways, and yet here you are. You have not crumbled. You have not been defeated. You are stronger than you ever imagined. Pain has also unlocked something within you, a version of yourself that only emerges through struggle. The power you now carry, the resilience that radiates from you, the confidence that has been carved into your soul, all of it was forged through fire. Every hardship added another layer to your strength, another chapter to your story, another weapon to your arsenal. You are no longer just surviving. You are evolving. Pain has forced you to look in the mirror and decide what kind of person you will be. Will you let your past define you? Will you let the people who hurt you control your destiny? Or will you take everything that was meant to break you and turn it into the very thing that propels you forward? Because that choice is yours. And the power to rewrite your story has always been within you. Betrayal cuts deeper than almost any other wound. It is not just the act of being hurt. It is the realization that someone you trusted, someone you believed in, someone you never thought would turn against you, did exactly that. It shakes the foundation of everything you thought was real, making you question your own judgment, your own worth, your own ability to ever trust again. The pain of betrayal is not just about what was done to you, it is about what was stolen from you. The security, the certainty, the belief that people would honor the love and loyalty you gave so freely. But betrayal, as much as it wounds, also reveals. It exposes the truth about people, about situations, about the illusions you once held on to. It is painful, but it is also clarifying. It strips away falsehoods and forces you to see things as they truly are, not as you wish them to be. And in that revelation, in that painful stripping away, there is an opportunity, a chance to turn that betrayal into something powerful, into something that does not destroy you, but instead propels you forward. Because here is the truth. Betrayal does not happen to the weak, it happens to the strong. People do not betray those who are insignificant. They do not go out of their way to undermine, deceive, or sabotage those who have nothing to offer. Betrayal happens because there was something in you, something valuable, something powerful, something undeniable that others either wanted to use or were threatened by. And while it may feel like a curse, it is actually one of the greatest confirmations of your strength. Think about it. If betrayal had no purpose, why does it happen so often right before a breakthrough? Why is it that the moment you are on the edge of something great, you experience the deepest betrayals? Why is it that when you are about to step into a new level of success, of growth, of wisdom, the people closest to you suddenly reveal their true colors? Because betrayal is not just an ending, it is a transition. It is the breaking of old ties, the removal of dead weight, the closing of doors that were never meant to stay open. It is painful, yes, but it is also a clearing, making space for something greater to enter. Betrayal forces you to wake up. It shakes you from complacency, pushes you to reassess, to refine, to elevate. It forces you to stop seeing people as you want them to be and start seeing them for who they truly are. And in doing so, it removes distractions. It eliminates the fake. It sharpens your vision. The very thing that was meant to break you is actually making you wiser, stronger, more unstoppable than ever before. But turning betrayal into breakthrough requires something from you. It requires that you refuse to be bitter. It requires that you do not let the actions of others harden your heart, close your spirit, or make you lose faith in yourself. It requires that you take every ounce of pain, every disappointment, every moment of heartbreak, and instead of letting it weigh you down, you turn it into fuel, fuel to grow, fuel to succeed, fuel to prove, not to them, but to yourself, that you are bigger than what happened to you. Because at the end of the day, the greatest revenge is not payback, it is transformation. It is taking what was meant to harm you and turning it into the very thing that builds you. It is using the betrayal as a stepping stone, as a lesson, as a turning point where you decide that nothing and no one will ever have the power to break you again. It is the realization that everything you thought you lost was actually making room for something better, something more aligned, something that will take you to heights you never imagined. The betrayal was painful, but it was not the end. It was the beginning of a version of you that is more powerful, more aware, and more unstoppable than ever before. There comes a time in life when everything shifts, a moment when the weight of injustice, the pain of betrayal, and the burden of suffering no longer press down on you, but instead begin to press back on those who caused it. The ones who walked away believing they had won, the ones who took advantage of your kindness, the ones who stood against you when you needed them most. They are about to witness the very tables they sat at being flipped over. Because life is not a straight road, it is a cycle. The same way seasons change, the same way tides rise and fall, the same way the sun sets and then rises again. What was once down must rise, and what was once high must be humbled. Those who once laughed at your pain will find themselves crying in the same way they made you weep. Those who took you for granted will suddenly realize what they lost. Those who thought they had power over you will come to understand that they never had any real control. They were simply borrowing time, and time has now expired. For so long it may have felt like you were losing. You watched as people who did wrong walked freely, as those who hurt you moved forward without consequence, as the ones who betrayed you seemed to thrive while you struggled. It seemed unfair, unjust, as if the world had no balance, as if goodness had no reward, as if suffering had no meaning. But the thing about life is that it never forgets. Every action is a seed, and every seed has a harvest. Those who planted deceit will reap deception. Those who thrive lies will be consumed by their own falsehoods. Those who thrived off the pain of others will one day taste the bitterness of their own medicine. The tables are turning, not because of revenge, not because of human intervention, but because justice is built in the very fabric of the universe. What goes around must come around. And when it does not come gently. It comes with force. It comes in ways that cannot be denied. It comes in moments that make people stop and wonder, where did I go wrong? It comes in ways that leave no room for excuses, no space for escape, no possibility of undoing what has been set in motion. The very people who dismissed you, who ignored your pain, who walked away as if your suffering was insignificant, they will have no choice but to acknowledge the shift. The ones who thought they had the upper hand will find themselves grasping at straws, watching as the very things they built begin to crumble. The positions of power they once held will no longer be theirs. The comfort they sat in will no longer be secure. And that is where the lesson is being taught. The certainty they had about their actions going unpunished will turn into confusion, regret, and disbelief. This is not about hoping for someone's downfall. This is about understanding the natural order of life. Nothing stays the same forever. No one remains on top forever. No lie can last indefinitely. No injustice can go unchallenged indefinitely. The tables are turning, and when they do, there will be no mistaking it. It will be undeniable, unavoidable, and irreversible. You are no longer in the same place you once were. The struggles that once weighed you down are lifting. The lessons you were meant to learn have been learned. The pain that once controlled you has become your greatest teacher, your greatest weapon, your greatest source of strength. While they were celebrating their so-called victories, you were being refined. While they thought they had won, you were being prepared. While they believed they had the final say, the true story was still being written. The tables are turning, and soon they will see. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is not something that appears when life is perfect, when circumstances align, when every person in the room acknowledges your worth. Confidence is something you decide to embody, something you choose to carry, something you demand from yourself even when the world gives you every reason to doubt. To walk with confidence is to understand that you do not need permission to take up space. You do not need validation to know your value. You do not need the approval of those who once overlooked you, dismissed you, or underestimated you. Confidence is knowing that you belong, not because someone else says so, but because you say so. It is standing tall, not because life has been easy, but because you refuse to let it break you. There was a time when you second-guessed yourself, when you allowed doubt to creep in, when you let the opinions of others dictate how you saw yourself. But those days are gone, because now you understand that confidence is not about arrogance, not about proving anything to anyone. It is about owning who you are, walking in your truth, and refusing to shrink for the comfort of others. Confidence is built in the moments when no one is watching, in the way you carry yourself when you walk into a room, in the way you speak, in the way you move, in the way you handle setbacks, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with the certainty that no obstacle is bigger than you. It is built in the way you respond to rejection, not as a sign that you are unworthy, but as proof that you were never meant to fit into certain spaces. It is built in the way you hold your head high, even when life throws punches, even when circumstances try to shake you. Walking with confidence means understanding that you are not defined by your past, not defined by your failures, not defined by the times you fell. Confidence comes from knowing that every fall was a lesson, every setback was a setup, every delay was a redirection to something greater. It comes from knowing that even when things do not go as planned, you are still unstoppable, still worthy, still powerful. People will sense it before you even say a word. They will see it in the way you move, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you refuse to entertain anything beneath your standards. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room. It is about knowing that your presence alone is enough. It is about understanding that you do not have to beg for respect, for attention, for recognition, because who you are speaks for itself. And yes, there will be people who do not like it. People who feel threatened by your certainty, by your refusal to play small, by your ability to walk with a sense of power that does not require their validation. But that is not your concern, because confidence is not about making others comfortable. It is about owning your presence unapologetically. Walking with confidence means recognizing that you are not a beggar in life. You do not chase what is already meant for you. You do not plead for what you deserve. You do not lower your worth to fit into spaces that do not appreciate you. You stand firm, you walk with purpose, you move with the assurance that what is yours will find you, that the right people will recognize you, that the doors meant to open will open, not because you forced them to, but because you belong there. Confidence is not about never feeling fear. It is about moving forward despite it. It is about trusting yourself even when the path is unclear. It is about knowing deep down that no matter what happens, you are more than enough. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood forces in the world. People mistake it for weakness, for surrender, for allowing others to get away with the pain they caused. But real forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It is about releasing yourself from the chains of bitterness, resentment, and emotional captivity. It is about understanding that holding on to pain does not hurt them. It hurts you, that carrying the weight of betrayal, anger, and disappointment only drains your energy, your peace, your ability to move forward. Forgiveness is power. It is the ability to look at what was meant to break you and say, I refuse to let this control me anymore. It is the decision to rise above, to reclaim your strength, to take back control over your emotions and your destiny. It is not about pretending the hurt did not happen. It is about choosing not to let it define you. Because every time you replay the pain, every time you hold on to the anger, every time you allow the past to dictate your future, you are giving power to the very thing that tried to destroy you. And you are stronger than that. There is a reason why forgiveness is difficult. It requires more strength to let go than to hold on. It is easy to stay angry, easy to seek revenge, easy to carry the weight of what they did to you, but forgiveness demands a higher level of power, the power to rise above, to refuse to let their actions control your spirit, to walk away from the poison of resentment and step into the freedom of peace. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. It does not mean allowing the same people to hurt you again. It does not mean excusing what they did. It means refusing to let their actions dictate your future. It means breaking the chains that tie you to the pain. It means choosing growth over grudge, peace over poison, power over victimhood. People think forgiveness is for the other person. It is not. It is for you. It is for your freedom, your clarity, your ability to move forward without carrying the weight of past wounds. Because the truth is, while you sit in pain, replaying the past, the person who hurt you has likely moved on. They are living their life unbothered, unaware of the damage they left behind. And you deserve better than to let their actions define your future. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about breaking free. It is about choosing yourself over your pain. It is about refusing to let what happened to you become a permanent prison. It is about understanding that true power lies not in holding on to anger, but in releasing it. Because when you let go of the resentment, when you refuse to be shackled by what was done to you, you step into a power that cannot be taken away. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who seek revenge, They are the ones who have the courage to let go and rise above. They are the ones who understand that holding on to pain does not heal it, that clinging to resentment does not undo the past, that the greatest form of strength is the ability to move forward without carrying the weight of what tried to break them. Forgiveness is power. It is the ability to reclaim your peace, to stand tall despite the wounds, to step forward without the chains of yesterday holding you back. It is not about weakness, it is about mastery. Mastery over your emotions, over your reactions, over your ability to transform pain into wisdom instead of allowing it to turn into bitterness. And that is why forgiveness is not something you do for others. It is something you do for yourself. It is the moment you decide that nothing, no betrayal, no hurt, no past wound is worth your peace, your happiness, your ability to live fully and freely. Because the past does not deserve your power, you do. There comes a time when the waiting ends. A time when the nights spent crying, the days spent questioning, and the years spent enduring are no longer in vain. A time when every wrong is made right, every hidden truth is revealed, and every tear shed becomes fuel for the justice that is finally here. That time is now. Justice is here. And when it arrives, it does not come softly, it does not come silently. It comes with power, with force, with a reckoning that cannot be denied. You have felt the weight of injustice. You have seen the wicked prosper while the righteous suffered. You have watched as those who deceived, manipulated, and destroyed moved forward without consequence, while you were left to pick up the pieces. It seemed unfair, unbearable, as if the universe had turned a blind eye to your suffering. But justice was never absent, it was preparing. Justice does not always come when you expect it, but it always arrives exactly when it is meant to. It may seem delayed, but it is never denied. The scales are balancing, the tables are turning, and those who thought they had escaped their actions, who believed they could betray, lie, and manipulate without consequences, will soon face the reality they created. Because the truth cannot stay buried forever. The harm they cause will not remain unnoticed. Every action carries weight, and the weight of injustice is too heavy to be ignored for long. You have waited, you have endured, you have stayed silent when you could have spoken, stood strong when you could have fallen. You have held on to faith, onto hope, onto the belief that one day the tides would shift, that one day the truth would be undeniable. That day is now. Justice is not passive, it is not a whisper, it is a force that moves through time, through people, through circumstances, bringing everything into alignment. When justice arrives, it does not ask permission. It demands reckoning. It holds accountable those who once thought they were untouchable. It exposes, it corrects, it restores. It moves through lives like a storm, clearing out the false, the corrupt, the unworthy. And you must stand ready, because when justice comes, it does not just bring consequences to the wicked, it brings rewards to the righteous. It does not just punish wrongdoing, it lifts up those who have endured it. It shifts everything, making way for restoration, for elevation, for the blessings that were once delayed, but never forgotten. Justice is not just about revenge, it is about balance. It is about making things right. It is about ensuring that no pain, no betrayal, no act of cruelty was ever for nothing. It is about proving that goodness is never wasted, that integrity is never in vain, that endurance is never ignored. Because every tear you shed, every sacrifice you made, Every struggle you endured was seen. Now is the time to prepare yourself, to let go of the hurt but hold on to the lessons, to release the anger but embrace the wisdom, to step forward not in bitterness but in readiness, because justice is here, and when it arrives, it will leave no doubt. The time of waiting is over. The season of suffering, of questioning, of wondering if justice will ever come, it has arrived. Every tear you shed, every betrayal you endured, every moment you thought you were forgotten was never unseen. God's justice is not a possibility, it is a certainty. And when it moves with unstoppable force. Those who hurt you, who deceived you, who walked away thinking they had won, they will reap exactly what they sowed. Not because you seek revenge, not because you hold on to bitterness, but because justice is woven into the fabric of the universe. No one escapes the consequences of their actions forever. The lies they told, the harm they caused, the pain they inflicted, it is all coming back to them. And you will rise. You will stand in the victory that was always meant for you. You will walk in strength, in power, in divine justice, knowing that what was meant to destroy you only made you stronger. The tables are turning, the scales are balancing, and the truth is being revealed. What was stolen will be restored. What was broken will be healed. What was unfair will be made right. Now is your time. Stand firm. Stand ready, because God's justice is here and nothing can stop it.